Hey, so Nicole and I are here today, and we have something so fun for you. And I'm so excited to share this experience with you where we will be doing a live channeling from a really cool collective group that Nicole has been in contact with. And did you want to share a little bit about this group and how you first came to connect with them?
Sure. When I work with the Akashic field, I sometimes channel religious sects like Buddhism or Jesus or just overall ancestors and guides for the particular client. And then last week, I felt I wanted to go into the records and tap into something that would support all of humankind. So I didn't know what would happen, but when I went in with that intention for guidance for everyone at this time, I tapped into something that named themselves the Intergalactic Stellar Design Procreation Boardroom. So I literally saw a boardroom with all these high back chairs. It looked empty, but the entity said they were seated across the table from me, and they pointed to their wristwatch and to the clock and told me to keep it within a half hour. And I had three questions that I asked, and they answered. And I went in three times last week with three questions, and it was really just incredible, philosophical, futuristic, practical, inspiring. Just I couldn't have ever imagined. So today, Ashley and I are treating the viewers to opening the records and asking some questions based on the topic of the week that we want to explore. And the topic of the week we want to explore is the idea of spiritual hygiene. So that might be the first time some of you are hearing that. We might not have preconceived ideas of what exactly that is, but much like how we groom ourselves every day when we comb our hair and brush our teeth, there is potential to consider what would spiritual hygiene be as part of how we do self-care. So, I don't know exactly what that means, so I'm going to ask if Ashley has ideas already in her mind, and then we will open up the records and go see what the intergalactic boardroom wants to tell us all.
I love it. Yeah, and for people who maybe spiritual hygiene might be unfamiliar, I love also the idea of energy hygiene, right? So how do we literally protect, seal, support, expand our own energy field so that we can be in the world today and be able to manage, both in contact with other people and in the our own inner environments and our own external environments. So super
Mhm.
excited to go into the records, and it'll give people a chance, maybe if they have not experienced an Akashic Records reading before, a chance to see what it's like to do the prayer, come into this communion, this sacred space, and to be able to share the wisdom from this collective consciousness.
Mhm. So, does that mean we should go to the prayer, or did you want to
Yes.
give your own ideas? We're going into the,
Yeah.
okay, we're going into the
We're
prayer.
going in. We're going
We're,
in.
go- we're going in, everybody. Get your spacesuits on because
That's
this is
right.
the age of Aquarius. And
That's right.
yeah,
It's a
okay.
good time
So,
if people want to light a candle, if they want to be part of this sacred space, light a candle, grab some
yeah.
water.
And so what I like to do before I get on a call with a client, I usually declare to the space. I say, I declare this as a safe and sacred space. And I usually call to the higher power to entrust in me to be a clear channel and that I entrust in the higher power as well. And I set aside the ego mind of myself so that I can just kind of really open up and allow and trust that whatever comes through right now is for the highest good of all of us and is meant to be right now for the highest timeline option today.
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, and so also I'm going to go into a little bit of breathing and anchoring into the present moment. So, what I usually do is I like to do some audible exhales. the sigh of relief, the audible sigh of relief. And that just signals to the nervous system that we have arrived, the urgency is over, and we're going to let go of anything before or after this meeting. And then I like to turn on a light in the center of our being. That can be an eternal flame or just a warm glow in the center. Start to illuminate that. And then breathe into that like you're drinking through a straw. You're giving that oxygen. And then we can place an orb of light around our bodies, 8 foot in diameter. And that just purifies the energy body and the aura. Also delineates a safe space around you. And then now create a beam of light from your center up through your crown chakra and all the way up until you get to the celestial realm. And this is where the Akashic ether is. It's the heavens or the womb of creation and potential is up there. So see if you can get a nice clear light channel going all the way there. And then follow that back into your center and create another one equally down through your root chakra, down through the earth, and all the way to the heart of Mama Gaia, where you will see a crystal that you resonate with. So feel a beam of light connecting there. And then back into your center, and you can see yourself as one node of source light, protected equally between the earth realm and the heaven realm. And you are a divine co-creator here. And now I'm going to read the Akashic Prayer, and that'll open the field. And once I say the Akashic Records are now open is when I usually start channeling for a little while, and we will ask our question about spiritual hygiene. I call upon the highest creator of all, the Holy Spirit and the divine support team of the sacred Akashic Records. Rain forth your love, wisdom, and truth to shine through our eyes and our higher hearts and higher minds. Allow me to come into communion with the Most High. We call on the highest forces of heaven to be the guiding and protecting presence. Guide us to the truth. Guide us to see beyond the limitations of our everyday minds. And lead us into the highest alignment with our souls. Help me to know humankind in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see humankind through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share wisdom and compassion that our masters, teachers, and loved ones have for us today, for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Help me to know humankind in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see humankind as we are seen through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion and truth and guidance that our masters, teachers, and loved ones have for us today for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. The Akashic Records are now open. The Akashic Records are now open. We are definitely at that boardroom again. There's energies, benevolent ancestors in the celestial realm taking their seats. I'm in the same seat. I'm in the center around a long oval boardroom table, and there's a main entity right across from me. And again, we're always looking at this clock, and they always note to me we are spending a half hour here, not longer or shorter. And so thank you for arriving on time and coming to the proverbial table on behalf of humanity so that we can channel the most pertinent wisdom of today. Um, Ashleigh, thank you for being here as well. This is an auspicious occasion. This is a time for celebration and co-creation. So thank you for commingling with us. And we are, I feel like a lot of galactic glitter, okay? There's this sort of glittery, there's a bit of a celebration here. Sort of seeing like the ball with the mirrors and the lights. There's sort of this galactic celebration. Yeah, it's almost like a New Year's Eve. There's something really special happening right now. So, um, yeah, it's almost as if the boardroom's having their holiday party. That's kind of what it feels like. It's a social, happy celebration occasion, and we can color outside the lines. Nothing too formal has to happen today. But yeah, let's be clear with our questions. We're aware that you want to speak about spiritual hygiene. This has to do with health, and we're looking at the health of the envelope of the skin. There's something about the skin, it breathes oxygen and light. It needs pure water on the surface, and as it comes out, there's a lot to do with water and the human body. So, the very first protocol for humans is to be aware of their water intake, the quality of their water, and how they speak to their water. Water is conscious, water has memory, water is impressing and imprinting upon our beings, as well as when it exits our body, it is impressed and imprinted and returns to the atmosphere in a cyclical fashion. So, the very first thing we want to speak about together, and we're going to ask Ashleigh to speak on this as well, is how we co-create with our water bodies. There is a spiritual friendship that's aligned between Nicole and Ashleigh, and one way they can have reverence for each other is to acknowledge each other's water body. So when we're looking at spiritual hygiene between the species, we want to first be present of our own water body and say a small acknowledgement prayer. It doesn't have to be elaborate. The first thing is to be conscious that we're bringing our water body to another living water body. So this is a really great practice for Nicole and Ashleigh to be present and acknowledge. And they're not in the same room. They don't have to be in the same room. Their water bodies are, I can feel them activating right now just by being acknowledged. So there's an elevation of consciousness that's happening between both water bodies right now. And there's an effervescence, there's a dance. It's like when a woman wants to be acknowledged for her journey and she wants to be listened to and understood for what she's been through, the water body wants to be acknowledged. So when you have a friendship and a spiritual communion, first acknowledge your water body and acknowledge the other water body. And there's the reflection. Okay, water is a reflective body. So we're reflecting each other and honoring that with consciousness, and just sit with that for a few minutes and realize that there's a sparkling reflection. Yeah, water is our planet's greatest mirror, and we are conscious water bodies. We're 80 to 90% water. It doesn't look like that, but even the lens of our eyes are water. So we're mirroring each other. We're all here to mirror each other. And ideally, we're mirroring joy and potential and happiness. In the same way you clear your lens of, let's say, a car, car windshield, or how you polish your mirror, you think of your spiritual hygiene, clarifying your water body so that you can equally and clearly reflect each other and your friends and your loved ones. There's mineral codes to speak about. Water is not just water, but it's minerals, compounds of minerals that replenish the cells and the bones. So the way you build the structure of your skeletal structure to hold up this water body is through the minerals of the water. It all comes from water. Oxygen is part of water, so we want to remember that the oxygen body. So there's oxygen, there's minerals, and there's water compounds. Think about your inhaling, bringing in oxygen to the water body. And then we can see the mitochondria start to get activated. There's a reticular activation. This is the motivation. This is the motivation of life. And we're seeing the bladder being a hub that pulls out the waste and gathers the urea to push the excess salts and minerals that haven't been integrated into the body and the bones. And the bladder is just this beautiful exercise of expansion and contraction. So it's almost like the way the lungs bring the oxygen into the blood and the heart, the bladder It's taking in and releasing any of the urea is being said. So it's the concentration of acids, salts, things that weren't utilized throughout the day. And that is a normal, very healthy process. And of course, you need to drink clean water. The topic of clean water for humans is very charged. And if we want to speak about charged, we want to talk about ions. So there's ions in the water, and those come from the oxygen and the atmosphere as well. This also comes from grounding, bare feet on the earth to get the ions back into the body. This is super important to discharge the static buildup from EMFs. So this would be the second spiritual hygiene is the ions of the body and thinking about gathering negative ions and letting go positive ions. And that creates what is really like an electrical body. So it's hard for humans to imagine, but you're working with electric and water in your body at the same time. It doesn't look like plugging into a socket with water. So that's a very, very different concrete 3D thing that humans think of. But the molecular, energetic, electric charge of the human body runs on water and the ions in the water moving through the body. So you need the oxygen, you need the grounding, and this starts to get the mitochondria moving, the motivation, the will to live, springing forward with life, and then clarify the consciousness of the water body, acknowledge each other, all moving around with 80 to 90% water. We are water bodies and we are conscious water bodies. So that's really the number one way to start practicing spiritual hygiene for yourself and for your loved ones as human species.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I have the opportunity to ask another question?
Yes, please, Ashleigh, ask questions.
So, where do we as humankind need stronger emotional or energetic boundaries in the world that we're in right now?
Okay, so the first thing when you're saying emotional, this is motion of water and oxygen moving through the boundaries. When you exhale, you're exhaling oxygen and water molecules. And so the best thing to do is movement and motion, a lot like Tai Chi, a lot like swimming, but just realizing you have this continual vortex coming from the heart. It's the torus field. So, the biggest problem humans are facing is stagnancy, literally physical stagnancy, because there's this contraction, there's this holding and guarding of emotions, and motions is movement. So it's really it's about motion. And of course, when you see Tai Chi is something people know, they're outside, they're on the earth. So movement outside in nature is absolutely critical for keeping that vortex clean, clear, flowing. Nothing should stagnate. This is where disease forms in the stagnation. And the benefit of practicing something like Tai Chi outside in community with other people, you're reflecting each other with the intention to keep the motion field alive and clear and fluent. It's about fluency of emotion. It's not about protection as much as it is about healthy reflection and fluency of motion with nature and community.
Mm.
So there's a lot of this going on. There's a lot of this going on. So It's a call to action to be together with your peers outside. Nothing commercial, no wires, no media. You're smiling, you're with the trees. The trees have their own vortex, their own torus field, exactly like the human body. You're upright, and this center is where everything comes in and goes out. And when we stop that because of limited perspectives, usually indoors, and because of media, we stagnate and we get mental formations about guarding ourselves. And this is really where disease forms. And we're not going to name the diseases, but we know the diseases. So yeah, the best thing, the best benefit is motion together in a positive, non-commercial, non-transactional way, co-creating joy and witnessing each other safely moving together without objectives.
Thank you. And along the same lines, what self-care habits or practices can we adapt as a way to best support ourselves, fortify ourselves for the times ahead, whatever those times ahead may be?
I don't think I understood the question, but I do see somebody rock climbing. I see scaling the side of it's basically earth, and there's these cliffs, and the human has the capacity to carefully plan each step and scale this life. It's really about outdoors and just that the physical moment to moment, step by step strategy, reaction, and planning of something that's you have to be very present and very connected to only the very next move. We're not really talking about a future because there is no future. It's not really. Thich Nhat Hanh says the best way to care for the future is to care for the present moment, and that is really the key to life. So be with the earth, be very present, go step by step, foot, thinking critically, consciously. But there's sort of the survival skill of rock climbing is hyper presence. And also realize the person climbing the rock in that situation is doing it for the pleasure of the experience. It's an elective to be here. So take your time and yeah, that's the way forward.
Yeah. So less focused on the future, but in what ways can or what self-care habits or practices would support people? So what can they do in their day-to-day every life to support themselves?
Yeah, I think praying to yourself when we move the palms, left and right hemispheres of the brain meet each other and you press the palms in a little bit firmly and hold them to your heart and consciously acknowledge the strength of the bones and that the rest of it is really a mineralized water body. You can even do this 3 times a day. You can set your clock for people that want to set a timer for that. 6 a.m. upon rising, noon at midday, and 6 p.m. at sunset. Pull both hemispheres of the brain together and hold the body firmly in reverence. Concentrate all of the energy into the center in the heart and acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge your water body. It's a pause to acknowledge yourself. That's it. It's acknowledgement. And then just breathe into that. You take 3 minutes, 1 to 3 minutes. Those conscious breaths really matter. It becomes a touchstone or a keystone within the day of the architecture of your day. Your acknowledgement of self and consciousness is your keystone. And then you can bow to your potential within. And then just completely soften and relax and realize how soft the human body is as well. Relax the shoulders. And when you take your next steps and move forward with your day, enter into a realm with a sense of trust. Yes, the trust is so soft. And if you cultivate like that and you keep returning and marking morning, noon, and night, with that, it'll start to kind of build a resonant frequency. And the body wants to be in attunement. Like all of the cells, everything wants to be in homeostasis, in a vibration that has a semblance of softness. And here comes that energy again, that vortex of the Taurus. So back in the motion, we want a softness, we want rhythm, consistency, resonant frequency. So there's an attunement. Yeah, outdoors, bare feet on the ground, clear glass of water, praying simply to the water, acknowledging the water before it goes in. You can speak life to it, simple verbal resonance, prayer to the water. Intake the water, be aware you're intaking the water. A lot of people are drinking water out of like these stainless steel cups with plastic lids and straws and paint coated. It's almost like wearing sunglasses indoors, right? So you want to acknowledge your water in a clear glass. You don't want it in plastic. You want to look at, behold your beloved, witness your beloved, because then you internalize that and that witness becomes you. So the body likes consistent water at consistent times. Real salt is important. Dr. Barbara O'Neill is important. Um, yeah, but really acknowledge your water because you can impress it. Why don't you impress your water? Do something to impress your water today.
It's
Let it
almost
impress you.
it's almost the self-care practices are the most simple things we could do, really. It's a mindful, prayerful moment. It's glass of water. It's being outside in nature. It's not the complex types of self-care practices that people might think they have to have. There are no specific rituals that the council is wanting people to engage in. Do we have time for one more question?
Yes, definitely.
What else, or what final words does the council want to leave us with in terms of supporting our own health and our own well-being?
Jumping for joy. Jumping jacks. Pumping up the volume of the blood, dancing in community, um, levitation through jumping and um, yeah, this is levity. So the human condition, a sense of lack and stagnation and scaffolding, like layering over there's like a scaffolding on the human body because of the human psyche. It's like we layer a lot, right? So back to the motion and the jumping, dust off, right? Shake it out, and smile, enjoy. Um, because back to that rock climber, we'll say he's electing to do that. We're this is an elective we're in this human form. So use your skills and enjoy it. Enjoy it. So levity. We want to see levity.
Mm. I get from that also a sense of humor and dad jokes.
Yes, yes. Laughter is wonderful medicine for a reason.
Yeah.
We're made to enjoy. We're made to be joy. We want to speak on something that came through last week for Nicole. She asked, "What is humankind's greatest virtue?" And we explained to her love through the heart is very specific to the human body. Another name for it, the human form, is joy. We have the will for joy, we have the ability to cultivate it, and it is our greatest virtue and contribution is to cultivate joy because the joy moves through the heart and the water body and the blood. So as we circulate joy through the heart vortex, through things like exercise and community and smiling and bringing in all those good things, we're impressing the water goes back out into the cyclical atmosphere, but now it has new codes of joy. Humans are the only co-creators of joy in the universe. That's actually humans' greatest virtue. It's the cultivation of joy codes in the crystalline water impression that lasts forever throughout the cycle of water on this planet and affects the universe.
Mm.
We're actually here to jump for joy.
It's funny, I have a flower essence called Jumping for Joy, so
What
we
is
can
the flower?
really, that's right. Well, it's a mix, it's a blend of different flower essences. So that is really like zinnia is one of them. It is a beautiful essence. We're just coming back to that sense of childlike playfulness, getting rid of the adulting that everybody may struggle with. But yeah, it's such a beautiful blend for taking us out of that space of really having the stress. It's funny, I hear things moving around.
We
Spirits.
wanted to mention that dogs also have joy and they are a wonderful companion for humans and they've adapted with humans over time. And joy is very tangible for canines, and humans really feel that reflection. So they're a wonderful companion. When you see a dog so able to have joy on the beach, right? The dog didn't think about it. It just runs off, right? It's jumping in the water and up on the stones, and the parents or whatever are like with the leash, like, oh boy, you know, take to that as an idea of lifting off some of the scaffolding that humans place upon themselves and tap into. You can really feel that, and they're guardian angels in that way.
Mm, that's so beautiful. We appreciate the council coming through today and sharing these messages. So interesting and so much to think about. I have never thought about my water body in that way before, and of course, in my work with flower essences, without water, we would not have this amazing plant medicine. Do you want to
Yeah.
close this out from the records?
Yes, I think that's perfect timing. So I'm going to read a closing prayer and close down the channel. Thank you so much to the creator of all the sacred Akashic. Thank you for allowing me and Ashleigh and humankind to receive all that was meant for us at this time. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. We anchor in the highest heaven here on earth, and so it is.
So lovely. And I always recommend that people, if they have shared in this experience, shared in this energy, to also take back their own energy, take back their own power, their own connection to this space so that, everybody's ties to the Akashic Records are free and clear, and their ties to us. Hopefully, they will come back to watch another episode, but for the moment, we don't want to remain in tangled energy. So I always feel like that's one way that we really should make sure that we do that whenever we're participating in anything that is external outside of ourselves, is taking back our energy after watching a TV show, watching a movie, having a phone conversation with a friend. It is like we shut down that channel of energy and we draw back what we need from all places, people, circumstances, situations that our energy may have been scattered, and that will just give us quite a boost of energy. We often will feel it in the solar plexus or in the heart, and it's just a good reminder to do that. So I like to do that when I'm in the records. Helps
Yeah,
me grounded.
definitely. And if you, Ashley, or if the viewers feel a little connected to that realm still, you can just say out loud a couple of times if it comes up in your channeling and you don't mean to be. You just say the records are now closed. Amen. You can say that out loud and firmly and really anchor the closure in.
Yeah, I give people the tip too, certainly in client readings, because sometimes the energy can be so intense. And obviously, with a channeling like that, this is the highest frequency. To go outside, stomp their feet, and really just connect with what is the physical world, the physical matter, at least in this lifetime, in this
Mm.
experience. And that can be a good way for, especially our highly sensitive, connected friends, to just kind of come back into their bodies. And I often drink a lot more water.
Yes, my teacher has always mentioned have more water. And I also had been guided to, when I do these readings, to sit outside on a rock.
Oh, I love
I
that.
was told to do it on a rock
Wow.
because there's like the rock is like an old planet piece. Like it's a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
ancient
yes,
piece.
yeah.
And then the human body's soft, and then you have the ether around you.
Mhm.
So that's why the other three readings I did with that council was at the beach.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know about doing it outdoors. But yeah, when it's also good to practice, like the earth can hold this stuff, you
Yeah.
know? The earth can really take all this stuff in for us. So yeah, grounding and get our feet out there.
I love that. I feel like this is probably a good place for our episode, our most recent episode to end. Is there anything that you wanted to leave listeners with, viewers with? Anything that is a lasting message? I mean, there's so many messages in there. It'll be fun to
You
extract.
know, what, okay, so when I go in, it's like a dream. Like I don't quite remember what we were just going through, and it was very dense. So I recommend people read the transcript.
Yeah. Great idea.
Because I go back and I read it and I'm like, wow, it's like reading an adventure novel
Yeah.
because yeah, like so I would recommend looking at it with the eyes in a week or two, a little bit. It helps it kind of land in the 3D with us. So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, and they can find their, like day-to-day ways of incorporating these messages, right? The moment of prayer, just
Yeah,
a
I love that
silent
one.
moment of just being in communion will be really helpful for people. I love that. I know people are going to get so much value out of this, and really, if your logical mind, your analytical mind is struggling with incorporating these concepts, sometimes we need to just embody it as a feeling, as a sense feeling. So when you're listening to this, how does it feel in your body? How does it land? And you can feel the truth of it.
And also with an Akashic reading, it's kind of like a DNA update. You don't have to let it all happen right now. Well,
Yes.
things were planted.
Yes.
Just, you don't have to get it all. Just
Yeah.
let what's gonna land in a couple
I
of
love that.
weeks.
We just got a DNA upgrade. You
We
also
just
did
gotta do an upgrade,
attunement.
a little shimmy.
That's
So,
right. You also did an attunement. So that will be really interesting to see how that filters down into people's energy field too. So
girl, when that first water body reflection thing was going on, did you feel anything?
yeah, yeah,
I was, oh my, there was like, when you see like a babbling brook reflecting like little
yes,
light, I was like, oh,
yeah.
that was cool. That
It's
was
like
something.
the bubbles. Like I could feel the bubbles that come up with like a those sparkling water things, and it's got the
Hmm.
oxygen bubbles in it. It was like this ebullient kind of energy coming out of it. So really, really
Yes.
neat. So hopefully people will leave their reflections in the comments too of how it feels in
Yeah, tell
when
us
they
tell
see
us what you
things.
got from it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode, and thank you so much for joining us, Ashleigh and Nicole, as part of our Akashic podcast. And we will see you for the next episode.
Ciao.